As a conservative myself, I urge you not to hitch your wagon to a falling star. I'd like to conclude by adding that although I have criticized the faith that Mr. Shermer places in Darwinism, we agree on one important point. Here I'm quoting from page 91. He writes, "In the free marketplace of ideas, turning to the government to force your theory on others, particularly children, goes against every principle of liberty upon which modern Western democracies are founded." Absolutely. I could not agree more. But despite implications by Mr. Shermer, it is not intelligent design theorists who are doing this. It is the Darwinists themselves. Despite what you may have read in the establishment news media, there is no national campaign right now to mandate intelligent design in any science curriculum. One highly publicized local exception was the Dover, Pennsylvania School Board, which required the reading of a short statement informing students that there was a book on intelligent design in the school library. That school district acted against the advice of the Discovery Institute, the acknowledged leading organization representing intelligent design in the world today. The Discovery Institute, with which I am affiliated, maintains that actions such as Dover's, while constitutional, unnecessarily politicize what should be a scientific debate. As you may know, under the influence of the ACLU, the judge in that case declared that it was unconstitutional for the school board to mandate the reading of this short statement to science students. Anyway, Darwinists, on the other hand, routinely use public education to impose their ideas on our children. In the past few years, several states, Ohio and Kansas stand out among them, adopted science curricula that included a critical analysis of evolutionary theory. Those curricula did not include intelligent design. They merely required students to learn the evidence and scientific arguments both for and against Darwinism. Although you might think that critical analysis would be good science education, Darwinists in Ohio succeeded last year in banning that critical analysis, and Darwinists in Kansas are now in the process of doing the same. This is not science education, but government-imposed indoctrination. Things are just as bad at the college level. Qualified scientists who criticize Darwinism become outcasts in their university departments. And in a growing number of cases, they are losing their jobs. Taxpayer-subsidized universities, which I think many of you know are not the bastions of competing ideas that they pretend to be, are doing their best these days to silence critics of Darwinism. As a conservative and an opponent of big government myself, I urge you to resist this government-imposed Darwinist monopoly in our public education system. For more details and documentation of what I've said, please see my book, The Politically Incorrect Guide, which David just mentioned and which is available outside. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jonathan. I want to open this up now, and let me just say, if there are people out in the hallway, there are some seats down front here on both sides of the aisle, and feel free to come in and take them. Let me open it up to questions then, right there. Wait for a microphone to come.
Hi, Mike Weber. I'm a science textbook editor and writer, so I'm familiar with these issues. Dr. Wells, you've made some good critiques of Dr. Shermer's book, although I actually don't think they really criticize Darwinism as such. What I'd like to hear from you is, what is your alternate theory? I would like to hear your alternate scientific theory, not a religious theory, of how life arose and how all these different species came to be here.
You can say that with those mics right here.
Well, first of all, I don't think it's I'm obligated to propose an alternate theory. Mr. Shermer quotes in his own book the famous physicist Richard Feynman, who said, quote, "If it disagrees with experiment, it is wrong. That's all there is to it." Alternate theory or no, Darwinism is false. Now, I don't pretend to have an alternate theory that explains the history of life. I do claim to have an alternate theory that legitimates logical inference from evidence that some features of the natural world are design. That, in fact, is all intelligent design claims. It does not claim to have the whole story.
Well, no, if you're claiming design that, all right, just one more thing. If you're claiming that there is intelligent design, then you're claiming that there's a designer, and then you have to answer the question that Dr. Shermer posed, which is, where did that designer come from? Who designed the designer? How is this not a religious theory rather than a scientific one?
Well, as Mr. Shermer, I can go ahead. As Mr. Shermer pointed out, one possibility, it's not one I hold, but one possibility is that the design comes from extraterrestrials. Now, he can ask who designed the extraterrestrials. Who designed God? Theologians have an answer for that. They say God is eternal. It so happens that when I ask a materialist, where did the matter come from, the answer is equivalent. Matter is eternal. In either case, we reach a point where we have to posit something that's there all along. God, an extraterrestrial, or matter. It seems to me that that line of questioning doesn't get us anywhere.
Yes, right here.
Good afternoon. My name is Todd Wiggins. I have a basic question about the theory of Darwinism as it applies to, does it have any relationship to atheism or the mentality of atheism, and do you think that there is any reason to continue to teach it in public schools as a standard practice, or should it be outmoded until we can come to some consensus as to whether it has any validity?
Yeah, this is a good question. In David's introduction, he mentioned, well, one solution to all this is just you have no public schools. They're all private schools, and they can teach whatever they like, and you can have creationist schools and Darwinian schools and neo-Darwinian curriculums. You can do whatever you want, and the market can sort of sort it out. Well, we don't live in that world, unfortunately, so that's why we have these courtroom trials and things like this. And scientists come from all backgrounds. They tend to be more liberal than conservative. They tend to be less likely to believe in God than non-scientists, but even there, it's nothing like what you would expect. For example, 40% of all working American scientists profess belief in God. It isn't anything like an atheistic philosophy that you have to have. And let me note parenthetically, this whole business about that we're experiencing in pop culture today about the loss of religion in American public life is leading to school shootings and all this kind of business, and that somehow religion makes you more moral. Well, the least moral group in America is the members of the National Academy of Science. Only 7% of them believe in God. Well, if this other theory is true, these people should be running amok in our culture, raping and pillaging and destroying and stealing and cheating on their spouses and business partners and so on. This isn't happening. So I think these are largely two completely different things. Scientists will occasionally speak out about their religious beliefs, either atheistic like Richard Dawkins or theistically like Francis Collins, both in recent books. But that's not part of science. They're just doing what people do, expressing their opinions like they would politically. So obviously that has no part in any formal curriculum at all, and it shouldn't.
Okay, right here.